Steve McGinnis, Ireland forwards coach. Just want to ask you first, you stepped into the new job towards the end of last year, so why did you take the job on?
My background is actually teaching, so I've been a teacher for the last 11 years based in England, and I've just actually started a new role with IQ Rugby based in the UK, so obviously trying to find Irish qualified athletes, male and female, to play rugby in or for Ireland. A talent identification programme over there, but that's a global programme as well, and the opportunity came along at the same time as this to come on as a forwards coach with the national team. It was a great honour to be asked, and I had to sit long and hard to think about it. Sat down with my wife and family, because it's obviously a big commitment as well, but we agreed it was a great opportunity and a really exciting time to really become involved with women's rugby as well. So it was for me, it was a really positive choice to kind of become involved. Yeah.
The team has been performing great, really going back to the World Cup, and it was a poor Six Nations last year. Is it a good time for a new coach to be coming in?
Absolutely. For me, I haven't been involved in that wasn't, so I can't really comment too much on it. I obviously looked at it from afar, and I've gone back and done my research since that, and had a look at some of the things that maybe we have needed to work on, and some of the positive things that did happen through that time as well, because there was positives. But at the minute, women's rugby is fantastic. It's a real growth and a real kind of snowball effects happening. Not just here, but across the Six Nations and across the world. Really, you look at the sevens programs and the 15s that's happening, and the World Cup building into next year. So it's a really exciting time for women's rugby.
How do you believe you can improve the Irish team from your perspective?
For us, it's about being efficient. Let's be honest and realistic. We're not a massive nation. We don't have thousands of girls to be picking from. Yes, we have a really good base, and there's some really good work happening down through the 18s program and young girls coming through. But we just got to be efficient with what we have, and a bit of belief. I think sometimes the Irish have a nature of being a little bit kind of a bit passive and a bit, it's okay, yeah, we'll take what we have. But actually, with this group, we've gone the other way. We're out here to be world class, and we treat this group as expectations of being world class. So we want them to be efficient with what they do, but their performance has to be replication of a world class performance, and that's the expectation of the coaches and the management.
Just to ask you as well about the Wales games, there's been a couple of games against Wales in the build up to the Six Nations. How beneficial have they been?
Look, it's great we have the facilities now at the National Sports Centre, etc., and it's great to have those, but unless you actually test yourself against opposition, sometimes you can't really see where you are. So having a good relationship with those countries is fantastic. It gives us a chance to test ourselves really on the field and actually see exactly where we are, and also see the progression we've made, which has been really, really good. It also gives us a chance to have a look at some combinations as well, and kind of plan A, B and C at times as you have to prepare for these things as a coach. But it's invaluable to get game time against anyone really, so it's nice to play against yourselves, but unless you actually test yourself against someone else, it's very difficult to see where you really are.
Is it also nice to start off against Scotland, the team that Ireland did beat last year in the Six Nations? Is it an ideal start?
You got to play everyone at some point, so I think the ideal start is actually having a home game for us. Be home support we talked about, and actually having that familiarity of home as well, and that that preparation into it. We can train here at the National Sports Centre, and then obviously make our way into Donnybrook for Sunday.
Scotland welcome back Rachel Malcolm, their captain, into their pack as well. How key could she be for the opposition this weekend?
Yeah, look, we've done a bit of analysis in Scotland and looked at their kind of attacking strengths and their weaknesses as well. But all our focus is on us really. We're talking about our performance, our set piece, our line, our scrum, our kickoffs, etc. So yes, we will look at Scotland. We'll look at what they have, but it's all about us.
If I could just ask you as well, the former Ireland head coach Philip Doyle said last year that he felt that the Irish setup was basically being dismantled, the 15 setup, because of what was happening with the sevens. Now that he's head coach of the opposition team, it must inject a little bit of needle into this game as well this weekend.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of background on it, but for me personally, there's nothing. I've come in July. This is a fresh slate for me and a fresh new squad, and for this team, we've approached it that way as well. It's about us. It's about our performance. We could be playing France first. We could be playing England first. You've got to play them all at some point. But for us, it's about us and our performance.
Last year there was an awful lot of talk about the players that had stepped out of the squad and those that had been stepping in, an awful lot of young players getting debuts and great opportunities for them. Do you feel as a coaching group that they're starting to gel together better and starting to get the point a little bit more?
100%. As I said, there's a really talented young group of players coming through there. From a forward point of view, you've got Dorothy Wall, Julie Bobbitt in there, fantastic players. At 19 years old, coming in and competing and challenging at senior level, not just making up the numbers. Even below that, the inter-provincials and under-18s, we've had a good look at that and the kind of cohort coming through there. So yes, there's a bright future for women's rugby. Like any team, there's a turnover, and I think especially in the women's games, not being professional at the minute, you can have that turnover as well, where people have lives outside of this. But the dedication these women have shown since my time alone in this is unbelievable. All credit to them that they are holding down jobs, holding down families, holding down everything else out there, and training as professionally as any international does. So it's all credit to them and the commitment they've shown right from the start that I've been involved with.
Since the Rugby World Cup was played here, attendances, to be fair, have been on the up for women's games in the Six Nations, and of course you had a good crowd out in UCD for the Wales game as well. How important with 3 home games is it that the girls really sort of make Energy Park a fortress, I suppose?
Absolutely, having home advantage, it is an advantage, and that familiarity we talked about. But yeah, definitely getting the home crowd behind us as well is a huge part of that. Women's rugby is snowballing. It's not a case of if these things happen, it's when, as these things move forward, and you look not just in Ireland but across England and across the globe really. There's a very bright future for it. But yeah, definitely having that home crowd advantage is we're going to make the most of it, and hopefully get a good start, and like you say, make Donnybrook a fortress.
And one of the great things you were mentioning, all the great things that are happening in women's rugby at the moment. One of the great recent things was Leinster playing Harlequins over in Twickenham. There's no reason why that can't not happen in the future, and not it just being Leinster, but Munster, Ulster, all the rest of the provinces too.
100%. That just raises the profile of the game for women's rugby, and I think that's where they are at the minute. They just need that profile raised more and more. It's great to see RTE and stuff broadcasting all the women's games now at home, which is another profile raising event for the game. So yeah, the more games that happen, the better for women's rugby.